All Indiana Politics is your premier source for Indiana politics, focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
I'm Garrett Bergquist, government reporter for Wish TV and the producer of our Sunday political talk show, All Indiana Politics. Wish TV is proud to add a new show to our Sunday morning lineup, The Hill Sunday with Chris Stirewalt. It's a new Sunday political talk show backed by The Hill's experienced team of political journalists based in Washington. I talked to Chris about what you can expect. Let's bring in Chris Stirewalt, News Nation political editor and host of The Hill Sunday with Chris Stirewalt. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be with you.
So tell us about your show. What can viewers expect?
Well, hopefully they can expect to be treated like grown-ups. They can expect that we'll have a little bit of fun while we do it, but that we're going to be able to talk about politics and we're going to be able to talk about government and what's going on here in Washington in a way that doesn't insult your intelligence, in a way that doesn't ask you to put on a partisan jersey before you make up your mind about what's going on, and that we can have a frank conversation that befits the greatest republic in the world, the greatest republic in the history of the world. Maybe we can elevate things just a little bit.
There are a lot of political talk shows already, especially on Sunday morning. What is going to set your show aside?
I hope what sets it apart is that energy of goodwill, of patriotic goodwill, in which we try to give each other the benefit of the doubt, in the sense that we hold open the possibility that the people who say they sincerely are trying to help the country and be of service to it mean what they say until they prove us wrong. But to start with that common space of discussion where we're granting that goodwill at the beginning, and I think very importantly that we're not reverse engineering. We're not solving for what we want to have come out of it, but that we're going where the story takes us.
For our viewers who are not familiar with The Hill, tell us about the resources that you're going to be able to bring to bear on these major policy questions.
Well, we have a great partnership with Nexstar with our cousins at The Hill, and that's very helpful because they have all their great reporters covering the White House, covering Capitol Hill, that informs the reporting for News Nation. But also we get to talk to our friends and colleagues who work there, who join us on set, who join us for interviews. That's a great assistance to have. One of the best known names in covering Washington as part of the family.
Building off of that, talk about the role that Sunday shows, and particularly yours, play in an era when there are so many different sources of news.
Public affairs television, which you are well acquainted with, is an important part that we in the news business can play in rebuilding trust with audiences, right? So that we're supposed to be doing something here that is aspirational, that helps people to be better citizens, to do better, be better neighbors to one another. And saving a little time for that, I think, is worthwhile. The crush and rush of the 24-hour news cycle makes it hard sometimes to talk about those things, but hopefully we have carved out a little moment on Sundays where people can learn about their state, their local community, and now their national community as well. I think that is good for us. I think it's good for the country, and hopefully it'll be good for viewers.
What are the top issues with voters that you're tracking right now?
Well, in a repeat election, the personalities tend to be less important. We haven't had one of these since 1956, but in a repeat election, I think we are going to see issues take a more significant role than they might typically. And I think when we talk about the economy, obviously, but also, of course, immigration, and the border crisis on one side, and then access to elective abortion, reproductive rights on the other side, clashing because you have a lot of voters who have different opinions about those issues, right? So you have a lot of people who are concerned about immigration and the migrant crisis they're very worried about. But some of those same voters are also concerned about Republican efforts to roll back access to elective abortion for women. And so that is an interesting collision to see how voters sort that out.
Chris Stirewalt is the host of The Hill on Sunday with Chris Stirewalt. It will air every Sunday morning at 11 right here on Wish TV. Chris, thanks for joining us. Once again, The Hill Sunday is part of our Sunday morning lineup here on Wish TV. You can catch All Indiana Politics at 9:30, Business, Equity, and Opportunities at 10, and The Hill Sunday with Chris Stirewalt at 11. I'm Garrett Bergquist. Thanks for listening.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.